Welcome to the Get Real Podcast, your high-octane boost of full-on reality therapy for personal, business, and investing success with your host, Ron Phillips, because somebody's got to tell it like it is.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Get Real Podcast. Here for another episode towards the end of the year. Ron and Heather, man, I'm excited to share. I'm excited to share what we're going to share today because I think this is going to be super helpful for everybody. Actually, that's not even true. I know this is going to be super helpful for everybody. So if you just turned this on and you're like, man, I don't know, are they going to go off on some tangents today? Definitely, it's going to happen. It happens every single time. But I know for a fact that you're going to want to hear this because these are the big takeaways from our masterclass. The things that people overwhelmingly thought were life-altering. Is that a good, I don't know that they said life-altering, but I think definitely life-altering.
Well, if it helps people move forward and not stand still, that's life-altering. You know what I mean? Like, it's so easy right now. And man, a lot of people are falling into that of just like, I'm just going to hang out. I don't know what's going to happen, so I'm going to do nothing. That's the new thing. And so if people are moving forward, that was one thing we did. We did a little exit poll. How are you feeling after the class? And just about everybody said, I'm excited or confident. Like, I think we had a couple people that said, I'm anxious, but I want to move forward, where no one was saying they're worried or, living in the fear zone. So I think that's awesome. That was really good feedback because, man, that was probably my biggest objective in wanting to do it, is watching people just standing on the sidelines. So
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think it's, just generally speaking in life. So take investing, take real estate out for just a second. People who put their heads in the sand, so, visualize it. You've actually shoved your head into the sand because if you can't see it, it doesn't exist. And then you don't have to make a decision. Well, that's obviously not true. I mean, you think about the bird that shoves their head in the sand because as a defense mechanism, it doesn't work. Whatever animal was going to eat you is like, oh, this is great. They can't see me. They can't hear me. I just get to eat them.
Yeah.
They won't even know they died.
I've never thought of that before. That's a really good point because you don't get to see what's coming.
There's another image, right? So it also involves a bird. I'm not sure what the bird theme is today, but this is what's popping into my head. Out in my marsh behind my house, I have these big white birds, huge long necks, and they sit there and they eat all day long. That's basically what they do. That's not all they do. They fly up onto my dock and crap on it, and then they go back to eat some more. So, but that's an aside, completely not relevant.
The part you love.
Yeah, other than that, it irritates me. Other than that, it's not relevant. But there's this image. I don't know if anybody has ever seen this, but there's this image of one of these birds with this long beak that has the head of a frog in its mouth, right? And the frog has its hands around the neck of the bird, choking it out. And the basic theme is never give up, right? I mean, you're being eaten, but you're taking a pound of flesh. Like who's going to win this? Not sure, but one of them is going to win. Not sure who, but one of them is going to win. But the most important thing is that the frog didn't just give up. He didn't just, oh, okay, well, I guess my head's in the beak. I'm done. No, he's choking the bird out, right? That's pretty much how you have to live life. No matter what happens, you got to at least try to choke the bird out.
Yeah.
And bonus, if the frog chokes the bird out, it doesn't crap on my dock.
Bringing it home. I like that.
Sorry. Sorry,
there's
everybody.
lots of good
Anybody who's
analogies
listening
about
to
those
this
birds.
who lives in the low country right now is laughing hysterically and saying, yes, choke the bird out. Get them to stop crapping. And if you live in the low country and you have ideas about how I can keep birds off my dock, I'd love to hear them. Invest at rpcinvest.com. Please reach out.
That's the most unique request we've ever had before.
It is. It is. It's a real thing for me, people.
Hey, well, have you ever had a bird like crap on you while you're walking? I have.
I have.
You
Yes.
have?
When I had hair. So I can completely
Ah.
understand how it affects those of you with hair. So never since I've been bald have I ever had a bird crap. I think it's a thing. They only like
Yeah,
people with hair.
that's a good point. That's quite possible.
None of this is what we were going to talk about today. Sorry, I told you, I promised we would take you on an aside.
But it was fun. It was fun. Well, I guess a reminder, because I know it's going to be just after Thanksgiving when this goes live, but we had a little mix up in our emails. So our Invest at RPC Invest email that we've shouted on here for a couple of years now, we have been finding lots of emails that never were seen. So we are fixing that. So if you've reached out to us, just a little reminder, and if you haven't heard back from us, please reach out again. We're going back through, and it's painful because we are frustrated by not having communicated. So if you have, we will eventually get to you. But if we haven't yet, let us know. So we'd love to hear from you.
So to our topic, never give up. And to our topic, the top things that people learned from at our class that we did, our online class, which if you haven't seen, you can go to our Facebook group, and all the videos are there. So if you go sign up at our Facebook group, link is in the show notes. Then you can watch these. So
yeah. And if you're not on Facebook for whatever reason, email us and we can make sure we get those in your hands. It was so helpful for me to just refocus, let alone, I was the one that generated a lot of the slides with you, Ron. So it's like, kind of funny that it helped me refocus and remember the game that I'm playing, and not to be a victim. That was probably what we led with, was not to be a victim of what's happening and to not bury your head in the sand, like you said. But we did an exit poll.
Really important.
Things that people, their greatest takeaways. And the question we asked is, what did you learn that helped you gain confidence about investing during a recession? Because really, it was the whole focus of the group was to keep people moving forward. And man, I thought so many times, Ron, we didn't have this in our slides, or we didn't really talk about it, but those quotes you used to share for years of like, when there's blood in the streets, buy. And when everyone's nervous, that's when I buy. I can't remember who the details on that second one, but that's what kept coming to mind, is all the fear that's going on right now.
Yeah. And it's palpable.
Yeah.
And we hear it constantly over here. And what we try to do is let's just take a break from the emotion for a minute, and let's just put some logic to this. Okay. And that's what we did in the masterclass. And so one of the things that stood out as the actual top was understanding recessions and what they mean, what they've meant in the past, and what we've learned from the ones in the past. And one of the things that's, I think, most important is that we've had two huge anomalies within a relatively short stint of time that altered things. And I think people feel like those are normal now. Like 2008 is normal.
Yeah.
Every time that the real estate market cools off a little bit, 2008 happens. And that's just simply not true. It's just not true.
Yeah, totally. I actually had just an email I got this morning from a client saying, yeah, I just want to stay. I want to know, are you guys getting foreclosures? And I'm like, yeah, like zero.
None.
Zero.
None.
There aren't any that I've seen.
Oh, and all of the news that we started this whole masterclass with the media. You have got to read the article to which the clickbait headline, gets you to click on. You got to read all the way to the end, because they put the actual news at the end. You read all of the BS that's in there, and at the end, they're like, they talk about Armageddon is happening in the real estate market, and then at the end, it's like, wah, wah, not that bad. Worse than last year? Yeah, sure. Armageddon? No, not even close. Not even close. And if you just read the article itself will tell you that.
Yes.
So again, they play to our emotions because when they get that click, right, you get put into a funnel, and it's understood. So one thing, I said this to somebody the other day, if whatever it is that you're engaging with is free, like Facebook, for instance, you are the product.
Yeah.
You are the product. Just remember that. If it's free, then you are the product. And so all of the people who are giving free information online, all of the media outlets being the worst ones, they're doing that to get you off Facebook there, to click to their thing. And then you become the product again for whatever it is that they're selling. So just be careful with that.
Yeah, and I pulled up our slides because there's a couple of really cool stats that we shared. One of them is that 80% of mortgage originations for borrowers with a FICO score over 720, which is different than 2008.
It's the exact opposite of 2008.
Yes. 85% of homeowners have mortgages right now with rates below 5%. 74% of homeowners have at least 20% equity. So that's like a game changer right there. 20%. The market has to drop 20%, the real estate market, before those homeowners are feeling upset, or they're up.
And that's just the people who have a mortgage.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the stat is, but I want to say that it's 30 or 40% don't even have a mortgage. Their home is paid off.
Yeah.
So the other thing I think is really important is that out of the last, what was it, 6 recessions?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That only 2 of them, the housing market lost value. Now, it's also important to understand that there's a huge difference between losing value and a decrease in appreciation. It's really important to read the article and read what they're saying. There are very few areas of the country where already we have seen a loss of value. Most of what is happening is a loss in appreciation.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because they were going up, we were going up so fast that things slowed down when rates went up, and they just had to come back down. I mean, it was like, oh, we were overpriced before, really. So now we're just going to go back to normal.
The other thing is that they report nationally, and real estate is a very local phenomenon. It is not a national phenomenon, right? So affordability. So we keep talking about affordability. There are places in the country that are unaffordable. So unaffordable, people, that they skew the numbers for the rest of the country. As the interest rates rise, and by the way, interest rates from a historical perspective are not high right now. They are not high. They are high compared to the other anomaly, which was COVID. So COVID ushered in a whole bunch of things that have never happened and will likely never happen again, which is this psychotic, I hope you took advantage of it, interest rates that were in the 2s, even for investment property, which is
amazing,
completely unheard of. It's not, likely will never happen again.
Yes.
So comparing what happened post-COVID to a normal market is just, that's a fabrication of the media. So
Agreed.
we go back to affordability. Well, where are the areas of the country that are affordable? Well, they're the areas of the country you should be investing in anyway. Because the volatile markets that go way up and come way down, you don't buy those markets until they come way down. But that doesn't mean that you can't continue to buy and invest in linear markets, because those particular markets are boring. They're slow. They chug along 2, 3, 4% appreciation or flat, and they're just boring. But they still produce the 4 returns that we've talked about. That's the other piece of this that people took away, is that there is no other investment that gives you 4 separate returns that are working.
Yep.
And if one of them gets taken away, you still have 3. If appreciation doesn't happen or it turns into depreciation, it's not as relevant because the other 3 are still working in your favor.
Exactly. So that was the most popular answer, you guys, was understanding recessions. 29% of those who attended the masterclass said that really helped them to understand. So our next most popular answer or takeaway was more creative financing options. And man, we talked about that, Ron, several weeks ago on the show. I remember saying creative options are going to come because rates are high. So there's going to be creativity, and we're seeing that already.
And this is what we were discussing is different than the creative real estate courses that you can buy, right? The investment courses where you are actively out there generating leads. And from those leads that you can do, purchase things subject to and do wrap mortgages and all these complicated creative finance things when you are actually controlling the deal. This is different. This is utilizing what the builders and rehabbers and people who are selling these properties for rental are offering now because the market is shifting. Because the market shift of 2008 was so large, it's still fresh on these people's minds. And because of that, they know it. They know things are shifting. They're getting ahead of it. They're trying to unload inventory that's standing so that they can remain in business and continue to build or rehab in 2023 without losing everything.
Yep.
So because of that, you can take advantage of these. And what I think you're referring to, Heather, is how can you use the money in a creative way that better impacts your returns?
Yes.
And there were several.
Yeah, that kind of shocked everybody. The first one we talked about really was, hey, you want a price reduction? Because that's usually in traditional real estate, that's usually where people go. It's just, oh yeah, I just want a price reduction. And this is taking the actual amount of that price reduction that the builder is willing to offer and using it in a different way. So not using it to buy down, using it to buy down the interest rate, using it to maybe even repay some of your down payment. You just, cash back from the property manager after closing, different ways to utilize that, not reducing the price. For years, we've talked about even on my purchases, personal purchases, I'll often try to increase the price and cover my closing costs and, get a lump sum for property management ahead of time or whatever, because it moves the needle way more. And we showed them side by side. I had several people reach out and say, what? Like, you just assume, oh, lower the price 20 grand, 10 grand, whatever. So
yeah, terms are far more needle moving than anything else there is. Of all the levers you can pull, terms are the most important. There was actually a post on Facebook the other day, the exact opposite of that. And this dude got lit up because he didn't know what he was saying. He's like, yeah, show me your terms later. I'll take a price reduction now. Okay, well, great. Yeah. If you're paying cash, sure, absolutely do the price reduction. But if you're financing a property, talk to me about terms. Let's figure out how we can make the terms work, because someone else is paying the real estate off. I'm not. Someone else is paying for it. So how can I increase my returns so that I'm getting all 4 of those and I'm maximizing the 4, especially the ones that I can control. And there were so many ways that you can do that, and being creative with it is really important. And like Heather said, even with your own residents, understanding how financing works and understanding how changing some terms can benefit you is a huge, huge win.
Yes.
In the real estate game.
Totally. We had Brendan on here a couple weeks ago too, talking about the adjustable rate mortgage and Cherry Creek Mortgage offering a free refinance, or no cost, I should say, refinance within the first 2 years after you purchase the property. Kind of a way also that we've worked on to help people be able to say, okay, if I can refinance later, right? And so we said, well, lender, what can we do to make that better for investors right now? So that was a really simple switch, but makes a really big difference. Adjustable rate mortgages has really been on our radar lately, or DSCR loans. Those have also been on our radar lately.
Yeah, debt service coverage ratio loans right now are better than traditional loans.
Yeah.
And they're easier to get in addition. They care a little bit about your FICO, but other than that, they don't care about you. They care about the property and whether it can cover the debt service. That's what a debt service, DSCR means debt service coverage ratio. It's how far above your debt service or your payment is the net income from your property, right? Then if it's far enough above there, then they'll loan on it. Period. End of story. Right.
Exactly.
And those loans right now are at 6.9, which is better than traditional loans. And you can buy the rate down a full point. So all of these different options, all of these different levers you can pull that make investing still. And we just and if you combine that with what we talked about last week and the week before that, which is it's the end of the year. Do you need tax write-offs? It moves people's brains from, oh, I can't buy to, can I buy? And if I can buy, man, can I actually get something done by the end of the year so that I can take advantage of it?
Yes.
And you're running out of time because you're listening to this the week of Thanksgiving. You're almost out of time. If you need tax write-offs, you might want to start looking at syndication so that you can, because it's easy. That's an easy thing to do. Where finding and closing on a house, unless you have cash. If you have cash, you can always refinance after the fact.
Yep.
Right. So, anyway.
And then the third, go ahead.
Before we get to the third, this is another thing that is really important because we were talking about decision making. We've had several people recently, even some friends of mine, who said, I think I'm just not gonna not invest. I'm just gonna leave my money in cash. And I hate to break their bubble, but cash is an investment. See, Federal Reserve notes are notes. It's a note. Now we use it as currency as well, but people have been using gold as currency for forever, since before Moses was a baby, right? Whatever thing is currency. Well, gold is also an investment. Dollars are also an investment. People move in and out of dollars. Countries invest in and out of dollars all the time. So the currency actually is an investment. And that particular investment right now is losing money to the tune of 15% a year. I know we supposedly just moved down to 7.7 or whatever they're lying about now, but it's still really high, way higher than that. So you're opting, just eyes wide open. You say you're not making an investment decision. That's absolute bullcrap. You've made an investment decision. The investment decision is to invest in dollars, and that investment is absolutely, without question, losing double digits a year right now.
And that's your safe plan. That's well, I'm just going to play it safe. I'm just or I'll be ready to buy something at a deal in the next, year or two is kind of the thought. But you're right, Ron, your investment in the meantime is losing double digits.
Yeah, so let's say you wait. And we did an example where the market after 2008, it took 5 years to hit the bottom. And I think it was Kansas City we did this on. It took 5 years. So 5 years in the current market, just so you guys understand, 5 years of let's say it's 10% a year, 10% a year. And let's say you were going to invest 100,000. So 10% a year for 5 years, a 10% loss every year for 5 years. I can almost promise you that the real estate market, unless you buy in a really stupid area, will not do that.
Yeah.
Over the next 5 years.
No data to support it.
If you think that the Federal Reserve is going to be able to tighten the monetary supply down to the point where we have sub double-digit inflation over the next 2 years. I mean, they're lying to you about the inflation anyway. You all know it. I just saw yesterday a report that food for Thanksgiving is up 20%. They don't even include that. They don't even include that.
Yeah. Which is like everyday impact on Americans.
I'm just telling you, you're losing money. And I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't have liquidity. I have liquidity. Heather's talked about her having liquidity and where it is. But if your liquidity is sitting all in cash and you're getting 0.0 nothing on your money, you are losing. And I hate to break it to you, but that is an investment choice. So, and that's fine. You can make that investment choice. I won't judge you either way, but you should at least make that investment choice, eyes wide open, that it is an investment and that you are making a choice. So sticking your head in the sand saying you're not going to make a choice is a choice.
Yep. Preach. I love it. Our last takeaway, we'll probably do a separate podcast on. We'll probably follow up with it next week, but it was about our investor portal. So we gave everyone a tour of the investor portal, showed them the functionality and capabilities. Brief overview. We actually posted a video, like a 20-minute, that was me trying to do a short breeze over of what it does. So, man, it's so much capability that I was trying to go fast and it still took me almost 20 minutes to go through everything. So powerful to be able to track and understand what's going on with your investments, to know your all 4 rates of return, what that looks like, better be able to track for filing your taxes. I've had clients after the fact say, oh, I could have written off that I, replaced the roof on my house. I could have told my accountant that and wrote it off on my taxes. I'm like, yeah. So stuff like that to be able to track everything. So we, go ahead, Ron.
And you should be tracking everything, not just real estate. You should be tracking your net worth.
Mm-hmm.
You should know what your net worth is. You should be tracking it.
Yes. So a lot of the investor portal, we'll do a new update on it and what's happening with it. So I won't go too much in depth there because I think it would take us another 20 minutes to go into everything. But to just know that was one of the top 3 takeaways, was the capabilities of the investor portal and what it can do to help people to not be as afraid, to know what's happening with their investments and not just blindly throwing your money at real estate and just putting your head in the sand, I guess, Ron, like not paying attention.
100%. 100%. So those are the top takeaways. Again, I encourage you guys. It was 3 days. We did an hour and a half a day. There's a lot of content in there. If you want to be able to see it, you're not on Facebook, again, reach out. If you're not in our Facebook group and you want to link to it, it should be in the show notes. If it's not in the show notes, reach out. We actually are we're actually monitoring the email better now. Things aren't getting lost. Oh my gosh, we're so embarrassed about that. But at least, hey, one of our core values is own it. Heather and I are owning it. We completely screwed this up. So if you are a listener who's been reaching out and wondering what in the hell is wrong with Ron and Heather, because it's not that we don't like you. It's that we had a problem with our email. Guys, anybody who's been in business has had something like this happen to them before. And honestly, guys, it was our fault. So we apologize. Please don't let that keep you from reaching out. So we're owning our mistake. And with that lovely news, reach out to us, let us know. And you know what? If you've never left us a review,
please
we'd sure love it if you do that.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take much time, but leaving us a written review on the podcast, good, bad, or ugly, we would appreciate it, and we would love your feedback. So please do that. And please don't bury your head in the sand. And instead, until next time, get out there and make something happen.
This has been the Get Real Podcast. To subscribe and for more information, including a list of all episodes, go to getrealestatesuccess.com.